Hi guys, Eevee here. Welcome to my 7th playthrough with my Eevee squad. Today I will take them into the Alola region. And I will be playing Pokemon Sun today. My team for this playthrough will be Flareon, Vaporeon, Espeon, Umbreon, Jolteon and Sylveon. So I will have to tell you, in this playthrough I will get Eevee more early. You know how. Yes, I will have to get Eevee illegally because you can only catch Eevee more later in the game. And since I want to start from the beginning, it's better like this. But hey, we are here for entertainment and for fun, right? So don't forget to put a like on that video and subscribe to my channel. Eevee will appreciate it. And let's go. So it's a lovely afternoon. Nothing better to sleep until late. Until we are awakened by this Meowth. The professor of Alola comes to visit us and say we need to go meet him in Iki Town. After we meet him, he tells me to go find the Kahuna. But instead I go after this young girl. She's acting weird, maybe she needs help. But then this Pokemon gets out of her bag and gets attacked by Spearows. I go there to help it and then this explosion happens. And we start to fall, getting saved by this weird looking Pokemon. That was close. I mean, I have to say, since Gen 6, the cutscenes is getting well done. Although it would be good to have a button to skip the cutscenes if you needed to. Anyway, getting back to Iki Town, we meet the Kahuna, which makes me choose a starter. I choose Rowlet and I name it not Eevee, like usual. Then I get challenged by How, he goes for Popplio, and I go with not Eevee. Popplio goes with Water Gun, which doesn't do that much, and I misclick and I use Tackle. So in the next turn I use Leaf Edge, and Popplio lowers my attack. The next turn it goes for Pound and I go with another Leaf Edge. The next turn Popplio goes down and we win the fight. We still did have a second fight with How, but I won as easily as the first, so moving on. In the training school, I defeat all the trainers and move on to change my look. Next is the fight against Ilima. He sends Yungoos and I go with ESP. We change some tackles until Yungoos goes down. Next is Smeargle, so I change for Sparky. After some tackles, Sparky goes down, so I send Fireball. But with 2 tackles, Fireball goes down as well. Damn. I decide to send Tinkerbell next. Even if Smeargle made a huge damage, Tinkerbell come on top and defeats Smeargle. After this battle, ESP evolves into Espeon, which is a good addition to the team. So let's face the totem of the first trial. Against these Goomshoes, I send Mawar. I decide to go for sand attacks because this thing will hit like a truck. After lowering my speed, it calls a Yungoos. The next turn, Mawar goes down. So I send Tinkerbell. I continue with sand attacks to the totem and this take a while, until Tinkerbell goes down as well. So I send Dark One next, so I continue with the sand attacks. After that I decide to go for Tail Whips to lower their defense, but I only manage to put one until Dark One goes down as well. So I send Fireball to do the same thing, then I change for ESP. I attack the totem with Confusion, which doesn't even do half, while Yungoos hits ESP with Pursuit. I continue with the Confusion until the totem goes down. Only his ally left, which goes down with a single Confusion, winning the first trial. Next is House Battle. It starts with Pikachu and I go with Dark One. Pikachu lowers Dark One's attack while I go with Tackle. Then I change for ESP. Although it receives some damage, ESP finishes off Pikachu with 2 Confusions. Next is Popplio, which suffers the same fate and goes down, winning the fight. So next is time to face Hala, the fighting type Kahuna. But I go with ESP and all of his Pokemon fall with a single Confusion, well, except for Makuhita. Makuhita took 2 Confusions, but like that we win the first Grand Trial. Then I decide to give some affection to Tinkerbell, because I will need it. Then we travel to Akala Island, where we face Texil. Then we go to the Water Trial, where we face the totem Wishy-Washy. I send ESP and I use Confusion for a little damage. Then Wishy-Washy uses Soak. Then another Wishy-Washy comes to the battle. So I use Swift for both of them, making more damage to the little Wishy-Washy. The little Wishy-Washy uses Water Veil, and the big one uses Water Gun, making a small damage. The little Wishy-Washy uses Helping Hand, and then I use Swift to hit them both, taking down the small one. Then the big one uses another Water Gun, making more damage than before. I go then for another Confusion, then Wishy-Washy uses Water Gun again, and then calls for Aloma Mola. Aloma Mola uses Helping Hand, then another Water Gun from Wishy-Washy takes down ESP. So I send next Sparky. I continue to use Swift while Sparky takes a double Water Gun from both Aloma Mola and Wishy-Washy. And Sparky survives on 6 HP before using another Swift, then going down with a Water Gun from Aloma Mola. I send next Mawar, and of course, now that he has low HP, the big Wishy-Washy becomes smaller. Then with another Swift, I take down both Wishy-Washy and Aloma Mola, winning the trial. Unfortunately, I lost the record from the fire trial with Kawe. Sorry about that. But I can tell you that it was easy finishing Salazzle thanks to ESP, and also I evolved Dark One into Umbreon and Mawar into Leafeon. So those are the things I lost in the record, but we can jump into the grass trial, where we face the Totem Lurantis. I go with Fireball, which of course it goes down right away with Solar Blade, then I send Sparky next, while Lurantis calls for Trumpic. Then I use Sand Attack on Lurantis, which of course takes down Sparky right away. I send next Tinkerbell, and I use Swift to attack both of them. But of course, Tinkerbell goes down with another Solar Blade. Then I send next Dark One, and I start to attack with Swift as well. We take a Solar Blade, and then we take a Supersonic from Trumpic. And then on the next turn, we hit ourselves in Confuse. Then Dark One goes down with a Solar Blade. I send next ESP, then I use a Psybeam on Lurantis, then we survive on 1 HP from a Solar Blade, then we use Psybeam on a Lurantis. But then Trumpic takes down ESP with Pluck. I send my last Pokemon, Mawar, we take an X Scissor, then I use Bite, leaving Lurantis on the red. And then we take a Supersonic, but we are able to go through that, and we take down Lurantis with a Quick Attack. But we still have Trumpic, so I heal ESP, Mawar goes down with a Pluck, then I send ESP to take down Trumpic with a Psybeam, winning the trial. After I get a Firestone from the Diglett's cave, I arrive at Konikoni City, where I can buy a Thunderstone. Then I use both the Fire and the Thunderstone to evolve Fireball into Flareon and Sparky into Jolteon respectively. Oh, and since I already have 2 Hearts of Affections on Tinkerbell, after I level up, Tinkerbell evolved into Sylveon, and like that, my Eevee squad is fully evolved. We still face Plumeria, but just using Sparky and ESP, we win very easily. So now it's time to face Olivia, the Rock-type Kahuna. She starts with Nosepass and I go with Mawar. I use Razor Leaf for half damage, and Nosepass uses Thunder Wave, paralyzing Mawar. I use another Razor Leaf, leaving Nosepass on the red, while Nosepass goes for Rock Slide. Olivia then heals and I use Giga Drain. Then I misclick and I go for Quick Attack, while Nosepass goes for another Rock Slide. I go for another Razor Leaf, leaving Nosepass on the red. Then we take another Rock Slide before taking down Nosepass with another Razor Leaf. Next is Boldore. I use Giga Drain, taking more than half and healing Mawar. Then I go for a Razor Leaf, and then we take a Headbutt. Then we get fully paralyzed 2 times in a row, while we take 2 Headbutts. But on the 3rd turn, we are able to use Razor Leaf and take down Boldore. Last is Lycanroc, which uses the Z move and takes down Mawar. So I send next ESP, but Lycanroc is faster and makes a lot of damage with Bite. So I change for Tinkerbell, which takes a Bite, then we take a Rock Throw, And then we use 2 Fairy Winds, but Tinkerbell is taken to the red by Rock Throws from Lichen Rock. So I change for Sparky, then we use some Thunder Shocks and Quick Attack to take down Lichen Rock. And like that, we finally win the second Grand Trial. After we make a strange visit to Either Paradise, we go to Ula Ula Island. We fight with How, which give a little trouble, but still it wasn't a problem. Then before the next trial, we also got a fight with Moraine, but it was very easy. So moving on, we go face the next trial, which is with the totem Vikavolt. I go with Tinkerbell, but of course Tinkerbell is already too weak because of the previous fights, so I just go with Fairy Wind before Tinkerbell goes down with a Spark. Then Vikavolt brings Charger Bug, so I send next Fireball. I go first with a Fire Spin on Vikavolt, while Vikavolt uses Spark and then Charger Bug uses a Thunder Wave to paralyze Fireball. Then of course on the next turn Fireball goes down with a Spark. I send next Mawar, which is bad, but even so I go for Bite on Vikavolt. Then we receive a strong Bug Bite from Vikavolt and then another Thunder Wave from Charger Bug. Then of course Mawar goes down with another Bug Bite from Vikavolt. I send next Sparky. I use Swift to attack both of them, then we receive a Bug Bite from Vikavolt and a String Shot from Charger Bug. Then I go for another Swift to make damage to both of them before Sparky goes down with another Bug Bite. I send next Dark One, I go for Quick Attack on Vikavolt, then we receive another Bug Bite from Vikavolt and a String Shot from Charger Bug. Then Dark One goes down with another Bug Bite from Vikavolt and then a Vice Grip from Charger Bug. I send my last Pokemon, ESP, I use Swift to make damage to both of them, and Vikavolt goes for Charge while Charger Bug goes for String Shot. Then we receive a strong Bug Bite where ESP survives on the red, then another Swift takes down both Vikavolt and Charger Bug, finally winning the trial. Damn it was necessary all my Eevee squad to win this. That's what you get when you don't come prepared. We face Guzma next, a very easy battle, so time to face the Ghost type trial with the totem Mimikyu. I go with Dark One, I use Assurance to break Mimikyu's disguise, then Mimikyu bring Haunter. Mimikyu attack with Play Rough, leaving Dark One on the red, our Citrus Berry heals, but then Haunter puts Dark One to sleep with Hypnosis. Fortunately, Mimikyu misses a Play Rough, and we wake up on the next turn and take down Haunter with Assurance. But of course on the next turn, Dark One goes down with a Play Rough. I send next Mawar, then I use a Swords Dance, Mimikyu misses a Play Rough, and I go for another Swords Dance. Then Mimikyu uses Play Rough, and I go for Bite, almost making half. Then Mimikyu brings Gengar. Mimikyu misses another Play Rough, and I go for another Bite on Mimikyu, leaving it on the red. Then we take a Shadow Ball from Gengar, then an Astonish from Mimikyu takes Mawar down. I send next Sparky, then I use a Bite to take down Mimikyu. But we still get an Hypnosis from Gengar, putting Sparky to sleep. And because of that, Gengar starts to attack with Shadow Ball. We still manage to use one Bite before Sparky goes down. Then I send Fireball next, which takes first a Shadow Ball, then we take down Gengar with Bite, finally winning the trial. After that we fight Plumeria, we also face Guzma as well, which was more complicated than the last time, but still we managed to defeat him. So now it's time to face Nanu, the Dark type Kahuna. He starts with Sableye, and I go with Tinkerbell. We take first a priority Fake Out, then I start to attack with Fairy Wind, while Sableye uses Shadow Ball. But eventually goes down and Tinkerbell learns Moonblast. Nice timing. Next is Krokorok, so I change for Mawar. I misclick and I press Swords Dance, which gives the opportunity for Krokorok to use Swagger. But we still manage to use 2 Giga Drains and take down Krokorok, so that's good. Last is the Alolan Persian, so I change for Tinkerbell. We take a priority Fake Out, then a Power Gem, but then we use our newest move against Persian, Moonblast. And we take Persian in one shot, winning the third grand trial. So now we go to Aether Paradise. Fava wasn't a problem, using Dark One. Then we have a fight with Guzma. He starts with Galisopod and I go with Sparky. I go with Discharge, making Glisopod go back and make Guzma bring Masquerain. I use Discharge, making more than half. Then we take a big damage from Bug Buzz, but then we take down Masquerain with another Discharge. Next is Galisopod again, which takes down Sparky with First Impression. Yeah, I forgot about that. So I send next ESP and I take it down with Psychic. Next is Pinsir, so I change for Fireball. Pinsir uses Brick Break, making a lot of damage, and I go for Lava Plume, making a lot of damage as well. But Pinsir still survives to use another Brick Break and takes down Fireball. So I send again ESP to take down Pinsir with Psychic. Last is Ariados, which of course goes down with a single Psychic, winning the fight. And then right away we have to fight against Lusamine. She starts with Clefairy and I go with Sparky. But of course that was because I forgot to change my team, so I changed after for ESP. And Clefairy goes for Cosmic Power. And I go for Psychic. But of course Clefairy starts to make this difficult because it uses another Cosmic Power. I continue to use Psychic and some Morning Suns to heal as well, but after I leave Clefairy on the red, Clefairy managed to take down ESP. But I send next Dark One, we take a Moonblast, but we manage to take down finally Clefairy with 2 Swifts. Next is Beware, so I change for Tinkerbell, which takes down Beware with 2 Moonblasts. Next is Lilligant, so I change for Fireball, and I take it down with 2 Lava Plumes. Next is Milotic, so I change for Sparky, I use Discharge and paralyze Milotic. But Milotic managed to hit a Hydro Pump, which makes a lot of damage, leaving Sparky on the red. Then I go for another Discharge, but leaves Milotic on the red. And Milotic takes down Sparky with Flail. So I bring next Mawar, and I take down Milotic with Razor Leaf. Last is Mismagius, so I change for Dark One. I use first some Moonlights to heal Dark One, then I take down Mismagius with 2 Assurances, winning the fight. After that it's time to go to the last island, the Pony Island, where we can fight the new Kahuna here, Hapu, the ground type Kahuna. She starts with a Lowland Doctrio and I go with ESP. We take an Earthquake and I go with Psychic, making half, but of course the next Earthquake takes down ESP. I send next Fireball, but of course I wasn't expecting that Doctrio would be faster to take down Fireball with another Earthquake. So I send next Mawar. Doctrio goes for Sandstorm, so I take it down with a Leaf Blade. Next is Flygon, so I change for Tinkerbell. We take an Earth Power, but then a single Moonblast takes down Flygon. Next is Mudsdale, so I change back to Mawar. And with 2 Giga Drains I take down Mudsdale. Last is Gastrodon, which I take down with a Giga Drain and a Leaf Blade, winning us the last Grand Trial. After that we go face the Dragon Trial, which we take it down with a single Moonblast, so moving on. We get to the shrine to evolve Nevi into the legendary Solgaleo, and to also take us into the Wormwall, where we will face Lusamine again. She starts with Clefairy and I go again with ESP. I attack a few times with Psychic, but it was being annoying with those Cosmic Powers and Moonlights, so I decide to change for Mawar. Then I use a Swords Dance, and then I use 3 Leaf Blades to take down Clefairy. Next is Mismagius, so I change for Dark One, which I take down with 2 Assurances. Next is Beware, so I change for Tinkerbell, and I take down Beware with 2 Moonblasts. Next is Lilligant, so I change for Fireball to take down Lilligant with Lava Plume. Last is Milotic, so I change for Sparky. We fail the first Thunder and we take a massive damage from Hydro Pump. Fortunately we connect with Thunder on the next turn, making a lot of damage, but not enough to take down my Lotic. But actually my Lotic misses the Hydro Pump, which is good because that way on the next turn I take down my Lotic with a discharge, winning the fight. Then of course we have to face Solgaleo, which of course I just use the Master Ball to catch it and moving on. So after that it's time to face the Elite Four. But of course we still have to face one last time Gladium. Which he starts first with Crobat and I go with ESP and I take it down with Psychic. Next is Silvally, which took 3 team members to take it down. Damn, this thing is tough. Next is Lucario, so I change for Fireball and I take it down with Lava Plume and a quick attack. Next is Weavile, which took down Fireball and Tinkerbell with Icy Wind. So I decide to bring Dark One, healing with Moonlight and attacking with Swift, I managed to win. So yeah, it wasn't a big deal. And of course after that we still have a last fight with How. He starts with a Lowland Raichu and I go with Dark One. Raichu actually misses twice the Focus Blast, which was good, that way I take down Raichu with 2 assurances. Next is Primarina, so I change for Sparky. We miss the first Thunder, like always, and Primarina uses a Moonblast, making a lot of damage. Then on the next turn I hit the Thunder, making half, but Primarina takes down Sparky with another Moonblast. Next I send Mawar and I take down Primarina with a Leaf Blade. Next is Flareon, so I change for ESP. I go for Psychic, making some damage. Flareon uses Flare Blitz and then a quick attack to take down ESP. I send next Tinkerbell and I use Moonblast, not making too much damage. Then Flareon uses Flare Blitz, making a lot of damage, but also getting the recoil, so with another Moonblast, Flareon goes down. Last is Komala, so I use Moonblast, making less than half. Then Komala takes down Tinkerbell with Wood Hammer. Then I send next Fireball, and I take down Komala with a Flare Blitz, winning the fight. And now, finally, it's time to face the Elite Four. And I go face first Olivia. She starts with Relicanth and I go with Mawar. I use Leaf Blade to take down right away Relicanth. Next is the Alolan Golem. I go first with Swords Dance while we take a Steamroller. Then I use Leaf Blade, but Golem survives on the red while we take another Steamroller. Since I know Olivia will heal, I use Synthesis to heal Mawar. Then I go for another Swords Dance while we receive another Steamroller. This time I decide to go for Giga Drain just to heal a little bit, but after I receive another Steamroller, I noticed that I was just wasting my time, so I take down Golem with Leaf Blade. Next is Lycanroc, which I take down right away with Leaf Blade. Next is Carbink, and I go for my last Swords Dance while Carbink uses Reflect. I wanted to heal a little bit more, so I use Giga Drain twice, but after I receive a lot of damage from Moonblast, I decide to just take down Carbink with Leaf Blade. Last is Probopass, so I use first Synthesis, then Probopass uses Power Gem. Then I go for Leaf Blade, which Probopass survives on the red because of its sturdy ability, then Probopass goes for Thunder Wave to paralyze Mawar. Olivia heals while we connect with Leaf Blade, leaving Probopass again on the red. Then on the next turn we get fully paralyzed, while Probopass uses Sandstorm. But on the next turn we connect with Leaf Blade, taking down Probopass, winning the fight. Next is Acerola. She starts with Sableye, so I go with Tinkerbell. Sableye uses Confuse Ray, and of course Tinkerbell hits itself in Confuse. On the next turn, Sableye uses Shadow Claw, and Tinkerbell hits itself in Confuse again. On the next turn we receive another Shadow Claw, but fortunately Tinkerbell finally takes down Sableye with Moonblast. Next is Frostlass, so I change for Fireball. I go for Lava Plume, leaving Frostlass on the red, while we take a Confuse Ray. But Fireball breaks through and takes down Frostlass with another Lava Plume. Next is Palossand, so I change for Mawar. I go for Leaf Blade, making more than half, but not enough to take down Palossand. So Palossand takes down Mawar with its Z move. I send next Dark One, I go for Assurance, but it's not enough to take down Palossand. Then Acerola heals Palossand, so I start to use Bite, and we get the flinch. Only one time. But we managed to take down Palossand. Next is Delmise, so I change for Fireball, and I take it down with a Flare Blitz. Last is Driftblim, so I change for Sparky, I go for Discharge, making half damage and paralyzing Driftblim. Acerola heals the paralysis, which gives me the opportunity to take down Driftblim with another Discharge, winning the fight. Next is Kahili. She starts with Skarmory and I go with Fireball. Skarmory uses Slash and then I use Lava Plume, leaving it on the red. But Skarmory gets burned, which takes it down. Next is Mandibuzz, so I change for Sparky. We connect with Thunder, making only half damage and leaving it paralyzed. But still Mandibuzz uses Brave Bird, not making too much damage. Next I use a Discharge to take down Mandibuzz. Next is Oricorio, I use Discharge, but it's not enough, surviving on the red. So Oricorio uses Teeter Dance, confusing Sparky. Then Kahili heals, I use another Discharge, Kahili heals again, and Sparky hits itself and confused. Then Oricorio uses Revelation Dance, leaving Sparky on the red. But we managed to take down Oricorio with Discharge. Next is Crobat, so I change for ESP. We take an Air Slash that make ESP flinch, then Crobat misses, so we can take down Crobat with Psychic. Last is Toucannon, so I change for Sparky. Fortunately, Toucannon was preparing an attack of 2 turns, and fortunately we connect with Thunder, which takes down Toucannon in one shot, winning the fight. Next is Hala. He starts with Hariyama and I go with Tinkerbell. Hariyama goes for a priority fake out, then I use Moonblast to leave Hariyama on half. We take a close combat, but then I take down Hariyama with another Moonblast. Next is Crabominable, which goes down with a single Moonblast. Next is Poliwrath, so I change for Sparky. I go for Thunder, making more than half, and then Poliwrath uses Waterfall. Hala then heals, so this time I did go for Discharge, making half. So on the next turn I take down Poliwrath with another Discharge. Next is Primeape, so I change for ESP. We take an Outrage, but then a single Psychic takes down Primeape. Last is Beware, which goes down with a single Psychic, winning the fight. Now it's time to face the last trainer, so we can become the champion. And we go face the Professor Kukui himself. He starts with Lycanroc and I go with Mawar. Lycanroc uses Stealth Rock while I go with Swords Dance. Then Lycanroc uses Stone Edge, then I take down Lycanroc with Leaf Blade. Next is Braviary, so I change for Sparky. I go for Thunder, leaving it on the red, while Braviary goes for Tailwind. Then Kukui heals and our Thunder misses. Then I use Discharge, leaving Braviary on the red again, and getting paralyzed. Then another Discharge takes down Braviary. Next is Snorlax. I use first a Thunder Wave, then Snorlax leaves Sparky on the red with Horse High Power. Then I use a Discharge before Sparky goes down with another Horse High Power. I send next ESP, I use Psychic, and Snorlax gets fully paralyzed. I go for another Psychic, but Kukui switches for Incineroar, which of course is part Dark type, and of course Psychic has no effect on it. So I decide to change for Dark One to take a Darkest Lariat. Then I decide to use Moonlight to heal Dark One, while Incineroar uses Cross Chop, making a lot of damage. I use next Bite, making almost no damage at all, and Incineroar misses a Cross Chop. I go again for Bite, and Incineroar flinches. Then Kukui switches again, this time for Alolan Ninetales, which takes my bite. Then I switch for Fireball to take a Dazzling Gleam. Then Ninetales uses Safeguard, while I go for Lava Plume, making more than half. Then Ninetales misses a Blizzard, so I take it down with another Lava Plume. Next is Snorlax again, so I change back to ESP. I go for Psychic while we take a Heavy Slam. Then I use Morning Sun to heal ESP while we take a Crunch, where ESP survives on the red. Then I go for another Morning Sun while Snorlax gets fully paralyzed. I go for Psychic and Snorlax gets fully paralyzed again. I decide to risk it and I go for another Morning Sun, but Snorlax uses Crunch again. I go again for another Morning Sun and Snorlax gets fully paralyzed. Then I use Psychic, leaving Snorlax on the red. Thinking that Kukui would heal, I go for Morning Sun, but actually Snorlax attacks using Heavy Slam, so this time I decide to take down Snorlax with Psychic. Next is Incineroar again, so I change for Tinkerbell. Then I switch for Dark One, where Incineroar uses its Z move on it, taking down Dark One. So I send again Tinkerbell, and I use the Fairy type Z move, making more than half, and of course Incineroar uses Flare Blitz, taking down Tinkerbell, and surviving on the red. I send next ESP, and while Kukui was healing Incineroar, I revive Tinkerbell as well. Then while healing Sparky too, Incineroar takes down ESP with Outrage. I send Tinkerbell again, and I use Moonblast while Incineroar uses Outrage, which of course Tinkerbell is immune. Then I go for another Moonblast and Incineroar uses Flare Blitz, surviving again on the red. But Tinkerbell also survives on the red, so with another Moonblast, Incineroar finally goes down. Last is Magnezone, so I change for Fireball. I use a full restore to heal Fireball, and we take a Thunderbolt, having the same amount of EHP like before we use the full restore. I go for Quick Attack to break Magnezone sturdy while we take a Thunder Wave, then Fireball goes down with Thunderbolt. I send next Sparky just to heal again Fireball, then I change for Fireball again while we take a Flash Cannon, then I use a Flare Blitz to take down Magnezone, and finally win the battle and becoming the champion. Damn, I forgot how tough Kukui can be if you are not prepared for him. But yeah, finally another playthrough with my Eevee squad done. And of course, like always, it was fun. Although the Gen 7 games are not really my favorites. This time took me a while to post a video because I'm dealing with some personal issues, so the videos that I have for this year are already made. But I don't know if next year I can post videos regularly like I did this year. It's been rough lately. I don't even know if I can stay active for the next year. I hope I can, but we will see. Overall, I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did enjoy playing it. There is another Nuzlocke, this time on the Kalos region. And if you are not subscribed, do it. That helps me a lot and Eevee will also appreciate. I hope I see you on the next video. Peace.